Okay, guys, we're going to get started. My name is MG with MG Covers. We're going to talk about how to handicap soccer tonight, learn how to create your own money lines. And what I want to do is give a little bit of background about how this came about. But before I do that, I want to talk quickly about our sponsor for tonight. We're sponsored by dogsandaces.com. Dogsandaces.com's handicapping service. They offer plays for all sports. You can check them out, dogsandaces.com. I also sell my NHL totals on their website as well. Very credible, very knowledgeable, very successful handicappers. So a special thanks to those guys for hooking us up. Now, what I want to do is give a little bit of background about how this came about. I had someone inbox me on Instagram and wanted me to help them with handicapping. And obviously I was going to show them how I handicap my normal sports. But he told me, long story short, he told me he had an interest in soccer. I said, well, I have a background obviously in handicapping. And I've never handicapped soccer before. So why don't I just teach you? I'll come up with a model for soccer and see if we can make it profitable. So that's what started it. And then last week I spent hours and hours. It seemed like I spent all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, all day Thursday perfecting this, coming up with a line. And again, this is just a starting point, but I feel like long-term it will be profitable with some tweaking. So I'm going to show you what I came up with. And if you're wagering on soccer and you're losing money, this is probably better than what you're doing. All right. So a little bit about my background. Again, this is not to brag at all. This is just to establish credibility for you and for myself. Just so you know that I'm not just some guy making up a video about handicapping. I'm just going to show you my record. This is year to date. Those of you that follow me know I'm pretty straight up. If I have a losing day, I'll post that. Winning day, I'll post that. So pretty straight up. But one thing I'm proud of is that I'm positive in all sports. If you back up this year, NHL, we're currently 105 and 102. $20,000 player would be up 24,620. It's one of my best sports. I love money line sports. We play a lot of dogs. NCAA hoops, not a great year for us. We're up 17 grand earlier, back down to 65-62, record 85-74. Still positive. NFL, we play 1 to 2 games a week, 18-8. I have a real good stat model for NFL. 10-4-90. NCAA football, we play heavy favorites in a 4 to 5 team parlay. We just play 1 game a week. That was positive, 34-89. And finally, baseball last year, 68-60. Very similar to hockey. Play a little bit more favorites than we do dogs, or not as many dogs in baseball as we do in NHL. That was profitable at 18-7-40. So again, the reason I bring all this up, just so you know that I know what I'm doing when it comes to these other sports. I've never wagered on soccer. I played soccer in 3rd or 4th grade. So I mean, I'm not I'm not completely ignorant about soccer. I mean, I know the gist of it is to score goals, etc. But so I'm going to bring in handicapping insight to the sport. And then those of you that follow along, what I originally was going to do is I was just going to work on this and then make it public later. And I thought, well, it would be better just to show the whole process from A to Z, and those that wanted to learn could kind of join in as we do these videos. And we might do these once a week and show you the updated progress that I come up with. So anyway, let's talk about handicapping. First off, to be profitable in sports betting requires 2 things. Number 1, a statistical model, which is what I call objective handicapping. And number 2 is situational angles, which is called the subjective handicapping. The majority of you that are novices or amateurs or that lose money just handicap based on situational angles, just subjective handicapping. This team looks good. They've won their last 5 games. They're playing a team that's lost their last 2. I like this team to cover. That's how the majority of people handicap. And long term, that might win. That might get you 2-0 or 3-0 during a day or 2, or it might be profitable for a week. But long term, it's going to you end up losing. So you have to have 2. You have to have an objective. You have to have a statistical model combined with situational angles. And a statistical model has to be better than the general public's model. And consider most people in the general public don't have a statistical model. It is better. And I'm going to explain a little bit further about situational angles. Situational angles, like yesterday, I'll give you an example of a statistical model. We had Liberty playing Lipscomb in the conference basketball championship. Our line was -2 Liberty, but Liberty was getting 6.5 points. So we had like an 8.5 point differential. So that was a play on Liberty at -2. I mean, Liberty at +6.5. My line was -2. So that was a statistical model. Situational angle was Liberty was the winner of this game was going to get a bid for the NCAA tournament. So Lipscomb had, had been known to blow, or they had blown out a lot of teams this year, and Liberty was a good team as well. But we figured since that was such a big game that the winner was going to get a NCAA bid, that it would be a very close game. That would be a situational angle, not necessarily stat related, but it's an angle that you would need to consider in your handicap. You combine those two, and you should be pretty successful in sports betting. And I just put this little quote in here: luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So let's get started into the gist of the model. First, I want to talk about the Pythagorean theorem of baseball. Some of you may be familiar with this, and this is a soccer video, so don't panic. I'm not going to explain the Pythagorean theorem per se. Some of you may be familiar with it from school, but Bill James came up with this concept, and then it was later turned into what a term we use called sabermetrics. It's just a way to measure baseball from a statistical standpoint. A lot of owners use it to evaluate players, teams, etc. But the whole premise of what he came up with, the Pythagorean theorem of baseball, it's tough for me to say, is that he believed, rather than looking at a team's win percentage, that if you evaluated the runs scored versus runs allowed, that was a better indication of predicting win percentage. And again, considering soccer is a money line sport, we're trying to predict who's going to win the game. So the formula that he came up with was very simple, but yet very effective. And we translated into soccer, and the formula is goals for divided by goals for plus goals allowed equals win percentage. So you would take the goals for, add those to goals against. That's on the bottom of your division. And on the top is goals for. So let's look at an example. And some of you may be able to guess this team. This is an actual stat from an actual soccer team. Soccer team has scored 79 goals year to date, and they've given up 21. So we take 79, add that to 21, that equals 100. 79 divided by 100 equals 79%. Now, I'm going to add some credibility to this. I didn't show you anything about record. We just used strictly goals for, goals against in our formula. So let's look at Manchester City. We're all familiar with this team, very good soccer team. And let's look down here. The games played they've played 30 games year to date, and they've won 24. Now watch this, pretty cool. If you take 24 divided by 30, you will get 79%, which ironically is the same percentage that you get using the formula we've listed above. And the only reason I show that is to provide credibility to this formula. Now there's a twist that we're going to do with it, and I'm going to show you that later. And one thing to be aware of, I don't know if you guys those of you that were anticipating this video was looking for some shocking complex formula. What I found years ago, I told this today to a friend of mine. I had this real complex hockey model, NHL model. It was just real complex. And the more complex you make it, sometimes you over factor in stats, and it just becomes diluted to where it's not effective. All the stat models I use for all my sports, and the reason that I'm successful in handicapping and profit in every sport year in, year out, is very simple. The stat model is very simple in all the sports. And I found those to be the best stat models, sometimes the most simplest stat models. Like for NFL football, believe it or not, is time of possession. My whole stat models is based around time of possession. And that's for another video. But anyway, back to soccer. I just wanted to provide some insights. So next slide. Now, this is the European Premier League. This is all their teams. This is a spreadsheet I came up with. And I'm going to go through this real slow so that, nobody's left behind here, so to speak. Now, Manchester City, 24-4. And I know there's draws in soccer, but what I wanted to do was I just wanted to let you guys see the wins and losses. That's all. We'll get to draws in a second. all the way down to Huddersfield in last place at 3-22. Now, if I mispronounce some of these names, again, soccer is totally new to me, so I'm going to try to pronounce these as best I can. So if that offends you, I'm sorry. So we're just, I'm probably going to mispronounce some of them. But anyway, so let's look at Manchester City. I've already went through this, but I want to go through this real slow. So Manchester City, they scored 79 goals year to date. They've allowed 21. We just went through this. So you would take 79, add it to 21, that equals 100. 79 divided by 100 equals a win percentage of 79%. Now, if you look to the next three columns beside that where it says L5GF and L5GA, I'm getting ready to show you the secret to sports handicapping. Again, I'm not lying. This is not hype at all. I'm telling you, I shouldn't even been telling you guys this, and I've talked about this in my videos if you followed. And this is, if you want to write this down, this would be a good line to write down. The best indication of future performance in sports handicapping is most recent performance. I'm going to say it again. The best indication of future performance in sports handicapping is most recent performance. And so what I mean by that is, if we're trying to evaluate how a team performs and we're trying to handicap like this coming weekend's games, how a team performed in January, how a team performed last November, that has absolutely no relevance on how that team's going to perform tonight or this weekend. We want to factor in the most recent stats. So the secret and what we've come up with and what we started with is we're going to use the last 5 games for soccer and factor that in. In fact, for hockey, just to give you an example, hockey, I use the last 10. College basketball, I use the last 5. Baseball, I use the last 10. For goalies in hockey, I use the last 5 starts. NFL football, I use the last 4 games. So it's real important. And in the general public, just to give you an idea, if you look over here to the left, yeah, okay, you can't see my cursor. The general public looks at this, records. And I've said this before, when in sports handicapping, you're not competing against the sports book. I'm going to cover this later. You're competing against the general public's perception of that team. Meaning if the general public thinks a team is really good, then that line's going to be inflated and the sports book's going to inflate that line. And that's how we can find value. Now, so back to over here to the right, L5G4, L5GA. In the last 5 games, Manchester City has scored 13 goals and they've allowed 1 goal. So really, really good team. So 13 plus 1 is 14. If we take 13 divided by 14, that equals a win percentage, a projected win percentage of 0.92. Now, here's the secret. If you go back over here to see where it says win on the in the first set of numbers there were 0.79. If we take 0.79 and add that to the last 5 win percentage of 0.92, divide by 2, our final win percentage projection is 0.85. So we can conclude that Manchester City is playing even better than their year-to-date stats. Okay. It just follow along because it'll get you'll start to see how this all comes together. So I'm going to repeat that just so you know. So what we did was we took the year-to-date, our projected year-to-date win percentage based on goals for and goals against formula, which is 0.79, and we combined that with the last 5 goals for goals against formula and divided that by 2 to get a final 0.85. And the reason this is going to be more accurate in predicting how this team's going to perform so that we can handicap, so that we can be more successful handicapping, because we're factoring in the last 5 games and we're putting 50% of weight into those last 5 games. All right, now scroll down here. If you look, okay, I messed all that up. I didn't use my cursors. My bad. Look down here at Crystal Palace, 9-15. So what do you think the public's perception is going to be of Crystal Palace? The general public's going to think Crystal Palace is not that good. They've won 9 games, lost 15. So if you look here, goals for 36 goals year to date. They've given up 41 goals. So almost almost half. So that total would be 36 plus 41 is 77. Then you would take 36 divided by 77, and that gives you 0.46. And what's interesting to note, that 46, even though the record's 9 and 15, they are almost at 50% on our formula at 0.46. Whereas the public will look at Crystal Palace and saying, hey, Crystal Palace is not any good. They're 9 and 15. And remember when I started this video, I said that Bill James, when he came up with this formula, what he believed and what he proved is that this formula was better at predicting future win percentage than just the win percentage based on their record. And case in point, if you look at Crystal Palace's last 5 games, they scored 10 goals, gave up 8 goals. So that total would be 18. So if you take 10 divided by 18, that gives you 0.55. We add 0.55 plus 0.46, divide by 2, and that gives us 51. So our power ranking, I'm going to get in this later, for Crystal Palace would be 51. And if you see me do the hockey videos, it's not how I do it for hockey, but we come up with a number instead of making it a percentage, just make it a whole number. So for example, if Manchester City was playing Crystal Palace, our power ranking for Manchester City would be 85. Our power ranking for Crystal Palace will be 51. All right, let's look at another team. I hope I pronounce this. Tottenham. They are 20 and 9, 57 goals for, 32 goals against. Add that up, that gives you 89. You take 57 divided by 89, that comes to 0.64. Now look at the next 5 games. Very interesting. They scored 6 goals, gave up 8 goals for a total of 14. 6 divided by 14 equals 42%. So what's interesting to note there is they are not playing up to their year-to-date. So just to give you some insight, so the general public looks at Tottenham and goes, hey, Tottenham's a good team. They're 20 and 9. We as sports handicappers, I look at this game and go, hey, they're not as good as their record right now. They're at 0.42. But we still want to factor in that overall record. So how we do that is, like I said earlier, we take 0.64 plus 0.42, divide by 2. That gives us a projected win percentage of 0.53. Does that make sense? And just to make the point a little bit further, if you take, let's say Tottenham was playing Crystal Palace, Tottenham's power ranking would be 53. Crystal Palace would be 0.51. What do you think the odds makers would make this line? They would make Tottenham huge, huge, huge favorites. But in actuality, they're pretty close in power rankings. So that would be a potential play on Crystal Palace. I'm just using that as an example. So I'm going to take some questions here at the end. I know we got a few people in here chatting. So let's go to the next slide. Let's look at a real life example. Okay. I actually did this weekend. I actually played some games just for fun. I didn't wager any money. All right. So this is Chelsea was going up against the Wolves. I'm not going to try to, I guess it's Wolverhampton. Chelsea this is year to date, 49 goals for, 30 goals against, for a total of 79. 49 plus 30 equals 79. 49 divided by 79 equals a projected win percentage of 0.62 year to date. Let's look at the Wolves. Goals for, 37. Goals against, 35. For a total of 72 with a projected win percentage of 0.51. And you look at Chelsea's last 5 goals for, 9. Goals against, 11, for a total of 20. 9 divided by 20 is 0.45. So again, like the example I showed you with Tottenham, Chelsea's not playing up to their normal projected win percentage of 62. So when you take 62 plus 45 divided by 2, their final power ranking is 53. Now, the Wolves, their last 5 games, they've scored 7 goals. They've given up 4 for a total of 11 goals. 7 divided by 11 is 63% projected win percentage. So again, take 51 plus 63 divided by 2. That gives us a final projected win percentage of 57. So you already kind of see what's happening here is that the general public would look at this game and Chelsea's going to be huge favorites. Whereas we look at this game and say, hey, the Wolves have a chance to win this game. All right, so the power rankings, how we would do this, just to go, I'm showing you exactly how I handicap this. Chelsea would be a power ranking of 53. Wolves would be a power ranking of 57, which is basically a percentage, but I took the decimal out just because it makes it look better. So here's how I turn this into a money line. You take 57%. I'll show you this in my spreadsheet later. There's a formula to convert percentages into money lines. It's very easy to do, or you can just print out the one I have on my spreadsheet, or you can Google this. It's all online. So in essence, 57%, if you convert that into a money line, that becomes minus 135. So and the 16, this is important. We did some research. You have to factor in draws or ties in soccer. We did some research for this league. We found that we added up to see what percentage of games went to overtime, and it was 16%. We did this for hockey. It was about 11%. Sometimes in hockey, it's a little bit less than that. Sometimes it's a little bit more. It's going to average around 10, 11%. But anyway, for soccer, it's about 16%. This may end up being higher if once I test all the leagues. But anyway, so again, when you look up here, we're just using wins and losses in essence. So we have to factor in the draw. So what we do is we're guessing that the game, because if the game goes to a draw, we lose. So you take 135, you subtract 16 from 135 for a final money line of Wolves minus 119. And those of you familiar with this game realize probably already know what happened. So what I do is now we're going to look at the odds. Now this is really interesting here. So we have the Wolves as a slight favorite, but look at these odds. They were at plus 620. So in my actual simulated wagering this weekend, again, I didn't wager any money. I just, I'll show you that list later. I just picked games that fit the model. So in this game, I actually wagered Wolves to win at plus 620. Now they lost the game, but what's real interesting, they lost. I think it was in the last 2 minutes. They were up 1-0. Chelsea scored a late goal to tie it, and the game tied. So we would lose this, but it was still a good play because what happened is the general public. If you look over here, Chelsea 17-5. That's what the general public looks at. So the odds makers, when they're setting this line, if they would have made the line Chelsea minus 119. I mean, you would have had, and then that would have brought the line down for, they're trying to even action. So they realize, hey, we're going to get a lot of action on Chelsea. So what they do is they're going to make the dog money real high to encourage people to wager on the Wolves, even though the majority of people are going to wager, or the perception is that Chelsea's the better team. I'm trying to do two things at one time. Sorry if that's confusing. So in essence, our play would have been the Wolves plus 620. Now, obviously they lost, but I want to show you this too. This is really important as far as handicapping goes. You say, well, you lost, you didn't win that wager. I know, but look at this formula. Okay, let me back this up. Let's pretend Chelsea and the Wolves play 10 times under the same exact conditions. It's a hypothetical scenario, but pretend our power rankings are the same. It's the same team, same players. They play this game 10 times. And let's say, just for the sake of argument, let's say Chelsea wins 6 of those games and the Wolves win 4 of those games. And this is the beauty of playing money line and heavy dogs. So the Wolves, we lose 6 games. So again, when if you're wagering on a dog and you lose, there's no juice that's paid. So 6 losses, we would lose $600. Now, out of those 10 games, let's say the Wolves, based on our power rankings, we believe they would at least win 4 times. So 4 times 620, that gives us 2480. Take 2480 minus 600, and our profit would be $1,800. And the reason I'm showing you this is how I handicap baseball. This is how I handicap hockey. Over the long term, at some point, those dogs will hit. And when they do, it's very profitable. That's why when you look at my what's my NHL record, like 105 and 102, but it was up like 24,000. So it's very profitable. And again, we'll go back and look at we might look at this example again, but let's look at another example. In this example, we actually won this game. I think this from Italy. Okay. See if I can pronounce this team right. Frosinone going up against Torino. Frosinone, 19 goals for, goals against 49. Add those together, 68, 19 divided by 68, 27% projected win percentage. Torino, I won't read all the details, 60% for those guys. Now, the last 5 games, this is to note because, again, we're trying to focus on most recent performance, right? So if you look in the last 5 games, Torino has scored 6 goals, and they played really, really good defense, giving up 0 goals. So that's a perfect win percentage. And if you look up at Frosinone, they scored 3 goals in their last 5, gave up 7 for a total of 10. 3 divided by 10 equals 30. So when we factor this all in, we show Torino at 0.80 and Frosinone at 0.29. And again, we do our power ranking. So Torino, the way we project the power rankings, are going to be heavy favorites. Frosinone is going to be a heavy underdog. But this is interesting. Look what happens. So first we have to convert this to a money line. So an 80% win percentage equals a minus 400 money line. We have to take out the percentage that the game will go to a draw. That would be 16. So that gives us a line of minus 384. Now, let's look at the actual game. We actually won this game. So what happened was, let's see here. Whoops, sorry that. All right. So we had Torino as a really good team, right? 0.80. But if you can look, their record, they were 10 and 11. So the general public perceived them as, yes, they're probably better than Frosinone, but still not that great of a team. Where we looked at it and said, hey, this is this would be an easy win. So minus 384 was our number, and we're getting, which Torino should have been heavy favorites, but they were actually dogs. So we won this game at plus 112. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to find value. No, I tell you what, I'm not going to do that. There's a formula to figure out the actual margin you would take. I don't want to confuse you guys and say this, but anyway, you would take the sports books line, divide that by 384, but you have to factor it in. You have to do it differently when it's 112. So you would take, if anybody's sitting at home, so you take, let's see, 12 minus from 100, what would that be? 88. So if anybody's got a computer, or if you're sitting at home, I don't want to mess up my other phone here. If you take 88 divided by 384, that gives you our margin. So we had huge margin in this play. So again, this is a win. If it was minus 384 and say the line was minus 120, then we take minus 120 divided by 384 to find your actual margin. And you want to have margin of at least double digits, somewhere in the neighborhood, probably 15, 20%, if not more. This was huge. I know that was kind of confusing. I'll come back to that later if you guys got questions. But let's move on to, let's see where we're at here. Okay. All right, skip this part. All right. Bear with me just a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys. We're going to do an actual, let's see, is this right? Whoops, sorry about that. Sorry. Let's do, I'm going to actually show you how to do this. Hang on, bear with me. Take that down. Let's take that down, my bad. I'm going to actually show you how to, oh crap, hang on guys. Sorry, bear with me. I want to, sorry about that. Let's see here. That's not going to work. I'm trying to figure out, I don't know if I can do it. I was going to show you how to do actual, how the spreadsheet works. But now I'm not sure. New tab. Here we go. All right, we're rocking now. My bad, guys. My bad. All right. There we go. All right. So now we're at soccer. We're at soccer stats. All right. What is this? All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how easy it is to load stats. So let's look at France. And what you do is it's very simple. Let me make sure I got my other spreadsheet loaded here. Okay, perfect. All right, sorry about that confusion, y'all. Okay, this is the blank spreadsheet. It's what you just saw earlier, but there's nothing, there's no teams in there. And I spent a lot of time on this. So here's how you would do a whole league like really, really quick. And the site that I'm at soccerstats.com. It's what I use for all my handicap. It's a really good site. It basically has all the soccer leagues. If you guys have another site, let me know about it. But anyway, so I'm just gonna click that. I'm gonna copy all those. Okay. And then we'll go over here to this sheet. Those of you that are Excel whizzes might have a better way to do this. Here, what I do is I just paste this in here anywhere really. You know, so paste that in there. All right, undo that. Okay, so now we got all the teams here, right? Okay, we just take that. We're going to click copy, and we'll go back up to our spreadsheet. So this spreadsheet, what I'm trying to show you here, sorry about the confusion, is I'm just going to show you that it computes it automatically for you. So there's all the teams. Let's blow that up to like a 20. Let's take the links out, remove hyperlinks. Oh shit, my bad. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, there we go. There's 20. Now, and we'll go back and get the, scroll back down here. So we got our teams loaded in there. And when you're handicapping, hey, time is Excel sheets are great. So what I do is you look at the goals for, goals against. This is year to date now. So I come over here and I type, click copy. And we're going to go back up here. This is pretty cool. Watch this. So we type this in here, put it right there, go to edit, click paste, and boom. It's already computed the formula for us. Let's see. Let's get it up 20 where you can see it. And yeah, hopefully everybody can see that. So there we go. Now, yeah, so it's just like before. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually show you how I do this. Now, these you would have the last 5 games for and games against, you would have to actually enter that manually. Now, if somebody here is watching this video and you've got a faster way to do this, hey, let me know. So let's just do it for let's take I tell you what we'll do since we're gonna handicap a game. Let's go. They'll be huge favorites there. I'm trying to find. Let's enter a game that we'll actually handicap too. All right, let's do this one here. Let's do nice and team that starts with a T. All right, so let's do nice first. So what's cool about this site here? You go to nice here, right? Click on this. If you look over here to the left, it shows their last 5 games. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do goals for. So that's gonna be 0. So it'd be 1, 2. So in the last 5 games, they scored 2 goals. Not good. So we come over here. Nice. Oops. 2 goals. We put 2 there. Now, goals against. They gave up 1 goal here. 1. So it'd be 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Is that right? Yep. So they've given up 5 goals. All right. So now that calculates. So that automatically calculates, which is pretty cool. Now I'm going to show you this too. What the hell is that? Okay. If we go back to here, where's nice at? 28. See where it says games played 28? We'll go back over here and type in games played 28. Click that. And look what happens. It actually calculates the totals, which is pretty cool. We're gonna get into total. We're not gonna do totals tonight. We might do it in another video, but this is very effective for totals. We did test it. We won a few games using totals, but we're gonna save that for another video for now. Okay. In fact, I'm gonna kind of do it like this. All right. So now we're looking at this. Actually, that messes it up for you guys. Yeah, my bad. Hang on. How about that? Yeah. So we look at nice. They're 20 and they've had 20 goals for, 28 goals against on the year, 48 total. 20 divided by 48 is 41. But most recently, they're sort of underperforming based on their year to date projected win percentage. So they're combined. If you take 41 added to 28, divide by 2, that gives them a projected win percentage of 0.35. Now let's go down and the team they're playing. I'm going to try to pronounce it. Toulouse? Is that it? I know that's wrong. All right, so let's look for these guys here. Here they are. All right, now do the same for them. If now again, if somebody knows a faster way to do it, I know if I copy that, it's going to copy those. Maybe somebody has a better way to do it, but anyway, still pretty easy to do by hand. 1 goal, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 goals in their last 5 games. So we will type that in 5 here. Let's go to the goals they've given up, goals against 0. There'll be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they've given up 9 goals here. All right. So now we actually have some data. We have this game handicap. And so see how quickly that was. You can handicap just, once you have this in, you put these numbers in it and it spits out a power ranking. So we'll actually handicap this game right now, actual live. So let me get this out of the way here. Take all this. Oh crap, my bad. So we don't need this to delete. All right, cool. All right, now on this spreadsheet too, remember I was talking about the money line conversions. Here it is. So you can see like if a team, and this is good to know just for general sports betting. If you see a team favored like right here minus 170, that means they have a 63% chance of winning. If you see a team that say they are a plus 125 dog, that means they have a 44% chance of winning. So again, you can compute this yourself. It's a pretty simple formula, but it's just easier to print it out like I do and I use it. I don't compute it. I have this in a different spreadsheet as well. All right, so back to our game. So now let's do our power ranking here. How can I do this here? Let's type in nice. So let's go back. Who's the home team here? Let's back up. So this game is a couple days. Oh, this is Friday. So nice is the home team. Okay. So they list the home team up top. So we'll type in nice here. I'm gonna blow this up in just a second. Just bear with me. And loose. And I'll blow all this up here so you guys can see it. Let's make it a 24. There we go. All right. So we'll take our power rankings here. Nice is a 35 and Toulouse is a 37. This is pretty cool because, again, I didn't practice this. You guys can actually see how I would handicap. And just a reminder, this is just the statistical model. We haven't got even started to talk about subjective handicapping. We're just trying to find a good stat model that's going to be profitable. So let's pull up the odds for this. I use odd. There's any place you can go. I just like Odd Shark a little bit better. So we're gonna hear the soccer. Is that us right there? Yep. Scores. All right. So that game was on. What was that game? Friday. Yeah, there it is. Okay, we got it. All right, good. We got it. Woo! All right. Oh, this is good here. All right, so let me do this right here. All right, so now. Oh, I don't want you guys to see that. Let's do this first. So we have 35. Nice is 35. So we have to find that. You have to calculate that percentage. So nice. So 35% on here. 185, right? Y'all see it right there? Plus 185. Oh, 37. So it'd be 185 and 170. 170. 185. Now I confuse myself. No, that's right. That's right. That's right. Team that's the favorite, their dog money would be lower. Okay, so we have to factor in. We have to factor in the 16 for ties. So I put 16 there just so you kind of see it. Whoops, bad. 16. And so we actually, since it's a dog, we add that to it. Okay. So that would be, what would that be? Six. That'd be 201. Is that right? 201. And this would be 186. So their actual line for this game would be nice plus 201, Toulouse plus 186. And it's actually Toulouse would be the favorite the way we're looking at it. So let's go back. So let's look at the odds now. All right. So now, okay, let's see here. Did I do that right? Is that right? I'll back up here. I'm just looking at something. Nice. Oh yeah, this is real good. All right, this is excellent. This will be a play. I can already tell you that. All right, so now we have. Well, I'll say that maybe not. All right, so we're looking at the odds. Whoops, messed that up. So nice here is 11 and 7. So this is what the general public sees. So they're looking at nice 11 and 7 home team. They're actually the favorite in this game at plus 111. You can see here. Toulouse is the underdog at plus 274. So now we look at, and when you look at power rankings, just you have to use some common sense. So we have a 35 and 37. Basically, these teams are even the way we've handicapped them. So this would actually be a play on Toulouse for 274 here. Again, that's not factoring in subjective handicap or any situational angles. And so how we would factor in the value, let me show you. We can actually do it here. So we would let's take Toulouse 186. So where's my calculator here? Yep, there's calculator. So we take, damn, where my calculator go? Oh, it's coming up. So we take, get this so you can see it. So we take 186. We just want to know the margin between that divided by 274. So we have a margin of 0.67. In order to make this a true margin, all you do is take 67 minus 100. I'm going to cover this in a completely different video. So we want to know the percentage spread between those two numbers. So that it would actually be 33. So the margin between our line and the odds maker line is 33%. So that would be a play just based on statistical model. Okay. So I don't know if that makes, hopefully that does make sense to you guys, but you can see the reason that they are huge favorites in this particular scenario is that the odds makers, now again, this is real important. What I'm showing you here, the odds makers know this right here. They understand this. They know all about recent performance. I mean, the people that set lines are very, very smart, but you got to remember, odds makers are not in business to make money like the way I make money. They're in business to make money. They want equal action. They want equal action on Nice. They want equal action on Toulouse. That's what they want. So in order to do that, the public will look at Nice and go, this team's 11 and 7. They should beat this team. So they inflate that line so that they can get even action. Okay. Does that make sense? Because if they made a line the way we made it, where the teams are almost even, all the action would go on the Nice. So hopefully that makes sense. And Yeah, that's it. So that would probably be a play on Toulouse there. So that'd be interesting to follow that one. But anyway, that's how you do it. And the reason I want to show you this is how efficient this spreadsheet is. Obviously, you can do this by hand, but it's just a lot easier with the spreadsheet I created. And again, what I want to do is I want to review this real quickly, so you guys can see this. So basically, what we're doing is we're taking year to date goals for plus goals against. We get that total. We'll just use this example here, which is 94. Then we take the goals for divided by that total, and that gives us a 0.84 projected win percentage. We do the same thing with the last 5 goals for, with goals against, and whatever that number is, we take that number. Let's just do for this number. Let's say it's 10, and let's say it's 4. So you guys will see it. There we go. To take the last goals for 10, last goals against 4, add that up 14, 10 divided by 14. That gives us a projected win percentage of 0.71. 0.71 plus 0.84 divided by 2 gives us a final power ranking of 0.77. Then we would take that 0.77, we come down here, 0.77. That would be a money line of minus 350. So we type in, let's do it up here. Let's get rid of this. Take minus 50, subtract 16 from that. That would be 334. Is that it? Yep. So then our final line for that team, based on that stat I just made up, would be minus 334. And then we take that minus 334 and we compare it with the odds makers line. Does that make sense? And I'm gonna tell you this. Let's look at this, like this minus 334 line. Let's say if I look and the odds maker had the line at minus 215, I would not play this team, even though they're spread. We'll get into that for another video, because it's just too much risk. We're basically having to risk 215 just to win 100, and it's just not worth it. And I think what's going to end up happening is I'm gonna probably end up playing a lot of dogs, because there's just so much value in playing dogs in this. So we'll X out of here. Do you want to save? No, I don't want to save. We will exit out of that. We'll exit out of that. We'll pull this back up. We'll go here, full screen. Make sure it's full screen. All right, there we go. Real life example 2. We did that. All right, next. Now, I'm sure if people want to get the spreadsheet, we will give it to you for free if anybody wants it. But here's the deal. You guys are like, oh man, he's trying to sell us something. Well, of course we are. We're a business. We're trying to make money. So what we'll do is, it's again, I mentioned that the video is sponsored by Dogs and Aces. What we're going to do is, I hadn't even my original plan was not to even release this. And I thought, hey, let's go ahead and do this. And then I spent so much freaking time on a spreadsheet. I just don't want to give it for free. So we're going to make everybody benefit from this. And what we're going to do is, we're having a special tonight. Dogs and Aces. It's a company, again, I sell my NHL totals on. It's a really good handicapping service. We're going to give you the March Madness package for $75. If you buy the March Madness package, we give you the spreadsheet for free. And Jimmy, you're going to get his picks for March Madness. And this is his record year to date for NCAA basketball. It's really good. It's 81-48. It's probably one of the best records. And I mean, there's probably maybe a couple handicappers that's better than this, but he's 81-48 with a push. $100 player be up 27.98 for a win percentage of 62. Knows his stuff when it comes to hoops. So what we'll do is, if you buy the $75 package, we'll give you the spreadsheet I just showed you for absolutely free. All you have to do is, once you buy it, there's a link in the description box of this video, dogsandaces.com. Click on that link and you'll see this picture of this right here, the March Madness. And then we'll give you a we'll give you that. And if you don't want to do the March Madness, we can work some out. I just didn't want to just give it away for free. And again, we worked out a little trade deal where he's helping me out, I'm helping them out. So this is in order to do this video. So anyway, it's a lot of value in that. You would get March Madness, every single play for March Madness. You get the spreadsheet for free. And all you would do is after you buy it, just send me an email, said, hey, I bought it, and then I'll coordinate with him, and then we'll get you the spreadsheet. All right. Oh, no, come on. Okay, we covered all that. All right, now I want to show you this. Everybody's hanging in there. Good. And we'll answer some questions here at the end, maybe. All right. So what I did was I tested this weekend. I actually forced myself to create lines and go through this. So you look at our record here. I'm not going to pronounce all these teams. Plus 364. We predicted the dog would win, lost that game. Torino, we had -102. I already showed you that game. We won that one. The Wolves, God, they were so close to cashing that one. Actually, when I played it, it was plus 580. We lost that one. Manchester UTD, we had them at plus 189. They lost. Should have won that one. And then we actually played a total. I'm going to get in that later, and I might do a video next Monday night. I'll show you how to do this with totals. But Hoffenheim and Nuremberg under 3.5. We hit that one. We actually got dog money in that, which was great. We won that one. And then we actually played Frankfurt today, and we won that one. That actually, the final line closed at like plus 163. We had it at plus 150. So what's cool about this is, notice we played all dogs with the exception of Torino, that one favorite. We were 3-3. And if you add all that up, that equals a half a unit. And half a unit is, I know you see a lot of crazy stuff on Instagram. How I do it, one game is 1 unit, y'all. That's how I do it. So like the example up there, the very first team, you wager $100. If you win, you get $100 will be 1 unit. So if you win that game, you would get $364, which would be 3.6 units. So back down to our bottom total, 3-3 plus a half a unit. That means a $50 player would be up $100. $1,000 player would be up 500. So it's a pretty good starting point. And this slide that I'm going to show you next is real important. Full disclosure, wager at your own risk. Just full disclosure. What I don't want is I don't want anybody to take this model and just start wagering like crazy and then send me a DM on Saturday that says, hey, I put the formula in, blah, 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 and I went 0-3. This sucks. I don't want you to do that, because if you do, I'll screenshot it, and then I'm going to post it on Instagram, and we'll make fun of you. So again, this is just a test. I haven't wagered any of my own money. It's incomplete. I mean, it's probably a decent model. I feel like I can make it profitable right now, but I'm not going to wager. Again, I'm running a business, so I'm not going to wager any of my own money. I'm going to stick to sports that I already know how to handicap, that I've already proven that's successful. But I think over time I could make this profitable. I still need to learn more about the actual game of soccer. So, but if you do wager, understand you're wagering at your own risk. Finally, hey, if you like the video, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and for everybody chatting, hey, I appreciate you guys coming out and checking out the video. It is greatly appreciated. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, follow me. It's MG Covers, covers with a Z. If you'll follow me on Twitter, it's MG Comedy. The link in the description box, I have both those links if you want to check that out. And let's see here. I'm just going to say thanks to everybody here in the chat room. If anybody's got any questions, you guys can ask away. Well, I'm seeing if anybody has any questions. We might do another video next Monday night. And for those of you that are watching, what would be really cool is if you can post in the comments maybe some situational handicapping things that I would need to take into account for. Because again, I'm trying to learn about soccer. And somebody was talking to me today about the weather plays a factor when you're handicapping soccer. So that's definitely something I'm going to keep in mind in the future. So anyway, again, I greatly appreciate you guys listening to the video. If you're watching this on a replay, hey, like the button, subscribe to the channel. And if we get enough interest, we'll probably end up doing a video next Monday night, and we'll go over the totals for you guys. So everybody has an awesome night, and we will talk to you later. Peace.